Listen, I don't think that to anyone it's a controversial statement to say that even if it wasn't your favorite game ever, there's a lot of anticipation for Modern Warfare 2 rumored to be coming later this fall following Modern Warfare 2019. Whether the reasoning was that you loved Modern Warfare 2019 and are looking forward to a follow-up, whether it be you want a hopefully complete game for the first time in a few years and an experience that, fingers crossed, isn't broken, or whatever reasoning you may have, this year has been a bit of a lull in regards to Call of Duty, and so naturally people are looking forward towards what's next, the prospect of another peak-reaching Modern Warfare game and in the Call of Duty franchise. However, over the last few days there's been some discussion that isn't necessarily bad, but may not be some of the things you want to hear all that much. Today we're breaking down those things and talking a bit about the future here for Modern Warfare 2, the state of the game, and what it will mean for the overall future of Call of Duty. As we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you looking forward to Modern Warfare 2? Do you think we'll see a revitalization in COD once again like we did in 2019? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed the video though, do me a favor, drop a like on it in addition to the comment to help it out on the algorithm, and if you're new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 content, and in the meantime, we have Season 2 in a few short weeks here, bringing new content to Warzone and Vanguard, plus we'll have a few cool projects coming up to pass the time in between all of that. So if you'd like to stay up to date with all things like the newest information, loadouts, tips, tricks, and as well as some retrospective content to hit you in the COD feels, and you're part of that nearly 7% of viewers who are not subscribed, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, let's jump into it. So we've talked a lot about what's on offer for what's coming, or rather we should say in an official capacity, rumored to be coming, since nothing is confirmed until Call of Duty or Infinity Ward socials deem it so. But we've had a lot on deck in regards to what we're rumored to see coming with Modern Warfare 2. For campaign, we'll see that return of 141, Price, Gaz, Soap, Ghost, Farah, and Alex, and all that company are likely coming back. One twist on all of that, though, that I found interesting, we of course have the same role reprisals, like Barry Sloan coming back as Price, but one with the whole situation that went down with Ghost voice actor last year. It's now rumored that the original Ghost voice actor Craig Fairbrass is actually maybe reprising his role here as Ghost in Modern Warfare 2, which would be an incredibly cool turn of events, I guess, following everything that's happened with that. But apparently we'll also see our cast take on the conflict from a less global scale to more covert operations, taking on the Colombian drug cartels. For the MP side of things, it's rumored that we'll have a lot of Modern Warfare 2 weaponry and multiplayer maps that were cut from development and were withheld from that Modern Warfare 2 remaster that we got right around the time of Warzone. That was campaign only. Activision does not like to split up their player counts here. That doesn't look good to investors. Even if you have across 3 games a larger total number of players, when you look at the individual breakdowns of each game that they'd be playing, they see those lower numbers and it could cause some worry and then hurt share prices. Activision's not really in the business to do that, so it was a tactical move to not release Modern Warfare 2 Remastered's MP. So therefore, it's right now rumored that we'll get a lot of stuff in regards to hopefully additional content, not necessarily taking the place of new content introduced in the way of maps and weaponry as well. I'd hope to see that if like we have 20 maps at launch or something like that, maybe only 4 of those are remakes that were saved from Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Instead, we have still a large offering of new content. And then with like the seasons, we could end up potentially seeing 1 more or 2 more additional maps on top of the 2, 3, 4 we normally get per season, so that it just bolsters out that content offering each season, especially if this stuff was done for a long time. It really doesn't hurt you to just throw it in as bonus, you know what I mean? But that's just me. DMZ is also rumored that third Tarkov looter shooter style mode that will be standing in place of Spec Ops and will not go free to play from what insiders are forecasting. This offering up a brand new massive scale map that you can loot, try and find some rare items, and then extract like for Dansk and Spec Ops, but then later shared with Warzone, which is the exact same rumored happenings here that we'll see in relation to that world of DMZ. That come the integration, we'll see the DMZ map replace Caldera and we shift to a new locale. But Warzone, that's that weird discussion point that, like we talked about recently, does now have on the horizon that rumor of Warzone 2. My best educated guess that we see the integration happen for Warzone 1 around Season 1, but then with the introduction of the anniversary of Warzone in the spring of 2023, we'll see that next-gen only standalone Warzone 2 launching, creating a clean slate for everything. But we'll have to see how that all works out if more clarifying information comes out in the next few days to weeks. Now, that sounds like a robust offering and content with ambitious plans and all, but what's the bad news out of that? Well, truthfully, what's happened recently, I don't think we can really say is genuinely bad news, but it's being perceived as bad news. It's interpreted as such. Recently, insider Ralph's Valve ended up tweeting about how there's now 11 different studios working on Modern Warfare 2. Those studios being Demonware, High Moon Studios, Toys for Bob, Infinity Ward Austin, Texas, Infinity Ward Poland, Infinity Ward LA, their main studio, Beanox, Activision, yes, Activision is more than just a publisher in that regard in some cases. Activision has assisting dev studios, notably Activision Central and Activision Shanghai, Raven Software, Sledgehammer, and Treyarch. So to the untrained eye, or I guess to those that aren't as familiar with development, that seems maybe like a bad thing, that maybe Infinity Ward can't finish out what they're working on and they're needing to get help from the outside to crunch to meet deadlines. And yes, that's something that may trigger some bad memories of similar happenings here in recent years with Vanguard and Black Ops Cold War, but it's not always bad. Additional studios are almost always brought in to fully polish off a game. This, especially with Call of Duty, isn't something that's new, and even if you want to take a look back at the pinnacle of classic Call of Duty, those games, probably fondly remembered, had all assisting studios as well. World at War had Treyarch, Certain Affinity, Arcane Studios, and Spav Limited. Modern Warfare 2 had Infinity Ward, Demonware, and Neversoft. Black Ops had Treyarch, FXville, Nerve Software, PI Studios, Raven Software, and a huge development roster on that one from Raven Software. Not just a small couple of teams working on it. It was a huge offering of developers working on it. Certain Affinity, Activision Central, and Activision Shanghai. Modern Warfare 3 had Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, Raven Software, Treyarch, Neversoft, Spav Limited, Demonware, Beachhead Studios, Activision Central Studios, and Activision Shanghai, and we could go on and on. All of those games were revered as some of the best in the franchise, if not the best. Finalization of dev brings in other studios for last-minute touches, and the biggest part about why we're seeing more and more of this in recent times, and why we even saw it back with those classic games that really blew up, is scaling. Call of Duty started with a simple roster of devs back from COD 1 to COD 4 Modern Warfare, but as it gained traction, added more in terms of content offering, more involved scripting, animation, gameplay mechanics, audio and visual rendering to meet the demand and push the boundaries of what consumers can expect, that starts to exceed the potential and expertise of one singular studio. There was in no reality a Modern Warfare 2 here in 2022 that's credits would only include Infinity Ward. This, I wouldn't get too worried about it. Additionally, insider Tom Henderson came out actually earlier today and talked about how the game is already in alpha, which, for comparison, the earliest of alphas that I've heard that are in functional and good states was actually Modern Warfare 2019, which myself and a few other in the press got to play in late March of 2019. So to already be past that point of progression in January should speak volumes to that level of progression of the game that we see in development in that timetable. Now again, as we've talked about before, does that necessarily mean that it's going to be the be-all, end-all best game that pleases the community in every regard? No. Modern Warfare, functionally speaking, was a pretty solid game, but it made some dumb design decisions. The removal of the minimap for core game modes, the sheer amount of doors that we end up seeing in every single map, the TTK, a lot of stuff like that. You could probably pick apart a bunch of different things here that you didn't like about Modern Warfare's MP, but functionally speaking, it wasn't in a bad state. So to see this now with Modern Warfare 2, it again should lend some cadence to the fact that 11 developers coming on last second isn't the end of the world. Now, the other air quote bad news that we can talk about we learned about recently was that apparently Infinity Ward doesn't have any plans to extend the sequel reboot series after Modern Warfare 2 here, that they're going to be done after this Modern Warfare 2. So to me, the way that I interpret this is that Activision really just said, we're going to use Modern Warfare, the series, reboot it, and save our stock prices, drive up sales and everything like that, and then they decided, you know what, we don't need to do that anymore once that Microsoft check came across their desks. But in all seriousness though, jokes aside, this is kind of a strange choice to me if it turns out to be true. Coming off the heels of the best-selling Call of Duty game in history, certainly following up is going to be tough, but that revitalization of COD that we had with a decent chunk of that success being credited to Modern Warfare 2019's base game, of course the elephant in the room is that Warzone did numbers for that, but still, not seeing it renewed for at least another trilogy and kind of trying to keep that hype going a little bit further, it just seems kind of strange. Also, the prospect of a reboot of a Black Ops series on the horizon, that too seems kind of odd that we'd end it after 2. But creatively, I understand, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. It gets kind of boring as a creator, not being able to tell new stories, not being able to do new things that you want, but instead being stuck to lore and canon and gameplay mechanics that were really something that made the past. To be needing to bring those back might not be something that everybody wants to do, but I'll be the first to admit it. I'm biased, I'm selfish. I love the Modern Warfare storyline and the lore, and always have, and damn it, I do not want to see this end. Maybe the gameplay and everything like that isn't everybody's favorite, but in terms of storytelling, I loved what they did with Modern Warfare 2019. I'm very excited to see what they do with Modern Warfare 2 here in 2022, but I don't know, man. Kind of bittersweet to hear that if that does turn out to be true. But anyways, that's the sort of air quote bad news, if you want to call it that, for Modern Warfare 2. Still very much so looking like a hopefully positive future here for Call of Duty come later this year. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. Just wanted to fill you guys in on what's on deck, what's been going on, and you may not have heard about. So that said, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys looking forward to Modern Warfare 2 here? Do you think that bringing on 11 other devs is something that is bad for the game? Do you think it is something that's just standard development? And also, are you guys a little bit upset that we'll be seeing potentially this end after Modern Warfare 2 here? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on the video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you in the community. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.